Verne is 83 years old now and severely handicapped as a result of a bad traffic accident. He's nearly blind and deaf. Occasionally, he suffers from loss of balance. Sometimes he has difficulty speaking fluently. This violin has been his lifelong companion. He's a second-generation American. His mother came from the Gabrielli family of violin builders in Cremona, Italy. His father from the Heitz family in the border region around Schaffhausen, Switzerland.
That's close enough for jazz. Good at one time, but nobody gives a damn about once it was or what can you do now? That's all they want to know. But, well, I was 4 years. That's what I got for my 4th birthday. I got a violin, and I had very, very good teachers. As a matter of fact, my teacher was the same one that Yehudi Menuhin had. Yeah. Michel Piastro, and we both studied with him, and I had a number of them, yeah. And that's all she wrote, because I can only play Irish music now. You don't have to have much talent for Irish music, but for Bach, I can't play Bach anymore, because fingers no good. Fingers no good anymore, you know. You got to use the first finger when you play Bach, the double concerto for violin. Or the gavotte in E major.
Verne can't play the violin well anymore, also a result of the accident 10 years ago. Normandy, France, a straight highway so typical for this region, but only since 1983. Previously, there was a sharp double turn hidden in the valley, the cause of frequent accidents, like the one in May 1979. Verne was on the road with his motorcycle to visit a friend. He was 73 years old then. People here still remember l'Américain with the violin.
À l'époque, nous habitions dans la maison qui est ici.
This is the house. We lived here at that time, and the road made a turn here to avoid the railroad tracks.
Qui traversait. Alors, la route qui descendait.
Going down the hill, just shortly before the turn, there was a depression, and then the road went up again.
Juste au moment du virage, ça formait comme un dos d'âne. Ça se donnait juste à la sortie.
And right there, the turn started, leading as far as the railroad crossing. Here, the motorcycle probably started to slide and then hit the concrete barrier at the junction.
En ciment qui se donnait juste dans le prolongement de la gare.
Verne experienced the accident differently.
I'm going up a hill with a BMW. I'm doing maybe 120, 130 kilometers. Not too fast, you know. But there was a truck coming up the other direction, and there was a bad turn. The tailgate on the truck swung open, caught me in a push, and broke up my fairing on my motorbike, just about tore my head off, and those are the glasses that I was wearing, and this one came back and hit me in the eye, you know. So, wouldn't have been verblinded. Here been verblinded. Aber das war nicht so schlecht here. I think I just hit the bone, because you can't do any damage to a bonehead. You can't. But so anyway, you know. Then they picked me up. That was at 10 minutes to 10 at night, and the gendarmerie found me at 2:30 in the morning, and they took me to hospital in Rennes.
No. At first, Verne lay in a deep coma in a small local hospital, and only after 12 hours was taken to a major hospital in Rennes. Following his stay in the reanimation center where his severe head and spine injuries were treated, The surgeon, Dr. Husson, took care of him.
J'avais été amené à le consulter pour un traumatisme très important de la main, une main qui avait 3 fois...
I had to treat him because of the severe injury to his hand, which was 3 times larger than normal. The infection caused plenty of pus. Here are the x-rays. There's the extremely swollen hand and the fracture. I have to say that I was very moved when the patient told me he played the violin. He was very cooperative. We became quite attached to him.
La profession de ce patient, dont il m'avait parlé aussitôt, ce patient parlant très volontiers et étant très attachant, du fait qu'il pratique le violon. Et je n'avais pas d'autre solution que dans le...
But there was no other solution other than to remove the fractured part. It would have died by itself. At the same time, we had to treat him because of his balance problems caused by a lump of blood in his skull which showed up in a scan. But the patient insisted that everything would get better naturally, that he would deal with all his problems, his finger, his balance difficulties, and managing in general.
Et il prenait en charge parfaitement son problème, à la fois sur le plan fonctionnel, sur le plan des doigts, que sur le plan de son problème d'équilibre.
Verne has other memories of his hospital treatment there.
And my friend there that I had, my doctor friend that I had worked with in Africa, he was there. And he said, what are you doing with the old man? I said, well, we're not doing anything with him. He's going to die. He said, you don't know that mean old SOB. He ain't going to do anybody favors. He ain't going to die for anybody. You take him up to reanimation. And I was there 5 months. 5 months I was there. Then I went over to Loch-Tudee with him.
This friend, a French military surgeon, lived in Bretagne at that time. Verne considers Dr. André Renaud to be his savior. With him, he also found a refuge after the hospital.
Il était un petit peu dépressif.
He was a little bit down at that time. After all, he had lost the vision in one eye. He had difficulties with his hand and finger and was extremely depressed, knowing he wouldn't be able to play the violin anymore.
De savoir qu'il ne pourrait plus jouer du violon ou du violoncelle. Et il m'avait même fait part.
At a certain point, he confided to me his intention to end his life.
De quitter la vie dans cette phase de dépression.
But Verne overcomes his doubts, and a half-year later he writes from San Francisco, "And although I am certainly no candidate for the Olympics, I do feel quite well and function quite adequately. Although I am quite blind and totally deaf without a hearing aid, I am managing very well. C'est la vie. That's life." Dr. Renaud first met Verne in Africa. At the age of 71, Verne joined the American Peace Corps there.
J'ai rencontré Verne Wells au Tchad pour la première fois.
I met Verne Wells in Chad at a meeting of Conoco Oil Company pilots in N'Djamena. Verne was working for Conoco after his short experience with the American Peace Corps.
Chez les Peace Corp. Et en fin de contrat, il a décidé de rester. Par la suite, il a travaillé chez
In the end, he worked for Khalifa, a Chadian who ran a transport company, and there he was mainly responsible for the maintenance of the trucks.
Gros engins, et il s'occupait particulièrement de la mécanique. Ses qualités professionnelles et
Thanks to his professional as well as human qualities, he fit well into Chadian society, always dressed in the local manner with a cap. There were always many children flocking around him, calling him Santa Claus, since he used to give away sweets.
D'une cohorte d'enfants qu'il appelait Père Noël et Santa Claus à l'occasion, auquel il distribuait quelques bonbons. Et c'est dans ces circonstances que je
I left him then, only to find out later that he also lived through the dramatic period of the Chad Civil War, and I'm sure that he deeply regretted the fact that he finally had to leave that country.
Avec certainement beaucoup de regrets.